what he's doing is he's not really breaking much. There we go, here comes a brownleaf teak branch, break it with the foot, and now he's going to just chew the bark off of from the bottom to the first, probably the first joint, the first where it forks. And we're going to see it's almost like a conveyor belt. He's going to slowly chew the bark off of it, and we'll see how it comes out the other end debarked. It's almost like one of those forestry machines. Goes in one end with the bark, comes out in the other end without the bark. And he of course gets a little bit of juice out of the branch itself, and he drops it once it gets to the first, where it forks for the first time. More nutritious towards the dry season, because by then a lot of the bark has stiffened and hardened, but he obviously needs a little bit of this bark. He's been feeding on grasses. It's just wonderful how, using his tongue and his teeth, that he's able to sort of twist it in his mouth and, like a conveyor belt, bring it out this side, having debarked it and chewed all the nutrients out of it. Holly wants to know if there are particular areas that elephants go for medicinal elements. In some parts of Africa there are, Holly. Here there aren't really any particular areas that they would go to, because I'm sure there are certain, and there's, what, you don't like me talking or what? There are certain bark or certain trees that they'll use the bark medicinally, marulas or knobthorns and things like that, but not really that many areas. I mean, there's some places in the dry riverbeds where the erosion has caused quite steep sides, where they might dig in at the clay to get certain minerals, but not to the extent that some elephants do elsewhere in Africa. I mean, they're the famous cave visiting elephants up, I think that's in the Aberdares maybe, or somewhere up in Kenya, where elephants walk hundreds of yards deep into these caves to get to the salts that you find in the deepest recesses of these caves. Just change. There's that big Nyala bull we were watching right next to him. He's just sort of moved it on. I've got this piece of teak that I want to show you, because it was in his mouth, and we filmed it in his mouth. So I've got elephant saliva on my hand because he's been chewing on it. So I want to show it to you in a little bit. Trophy. Yeah, got it. Didn't really chase the Nyala. Here's the Nyala bull just in front of us. Just the Nyala bull was a little bit intimidated by it. Two big Nyala bulls actually. A little bit intimidated by the Ellie. And there, more brown leaf teak between him and us. he might come and eat. But while he's on his way here, let me show you. This is what it looks like afterwards. Now, oops, handbrake, Mark, handbrake. As you can see, the roundleaf teak doesn't really have any thorns or spines, so the leaves themselves are not really that palatable. I think sometimes they might eat them, like they might sometimes eat mapani leaves. A lot of insect activity on the leaves. Now this one hasn't really branched, it's a single trunk, but you can see where he's eaten the bark from here. You can actually see some of the bruising from and where he's abraded it from chewing it and twisting it in his mouth. Still very, very wet. So this is how we learn things, that I've just seen him eating on this piece of roundleaf teak, and it gives me a chance to feel how wet the bark is, gives me a chance to feel how wet it feels having just been debarked. Still a little bit of, I suppose, moisture from his tongue and his saliva, and now I know how it feels immediately after an elephant has fed on it. So when I'm out walking in that and I find something like this and I feel this dampness, I know that there's an elephant close by. Obviously on a hot sunny day this will dry out a lot quicker than it'll dry out on a day like today when it's quite cold, cool and moist. But that's how we learn. We pick up after animals and we feel things and we touch things and we smell things and sometimes we taste things. Gone back to grasses, but there is this other little roundleaf teak. And I've spoken how they actually harvest roundleaf teak. There we go, he's going to break some more off and he's going to be eating some more bark now. Instead of them letting these trees get to trees to be the shape of a tree, they're constantly breaking these trees down to the base so that they recoppice like this, so that they become these shrubs, because they can offer to some extent every year a vital element to their diet. And I suppose part of it might be even the tannins are necessary for something in their digestive system, because it must be quite high in tannin.